So I played with the bracket a little bit, been whittling away at it, so now this is the shape that I have so far. Austin's running around the house in old number 27. So I think I'm going to bend it so that it comes up and over, and there's a hole right here, and if I luck out, I can use that hole, and it'll be like that. I got to cut it a little more here, but then bend it up and bolt it. So I'm sneaking up on it. Not much left of it, but it's getting there. Alright, so this little bracket is 16 gauge steel, and I've got some 16 gauge, so I'm going to weld that up, extend the length of that bracket. Alright, well I slagged it up pretty good, but I think I can grind that down and it'll look alright. Yeah, it seems to be on there. Okay, so now I'm going to grind this thing and make it look pretty. I should have welded up that hole, but I think it'll be alright. Alright, well that doesn't look too bad. That gives me extra length to get the bolt hole where I want. Well, I'm not much of a welder, but I did get it to come together and work. I needed this extra length because the hole is mounting hole is gonna be just slightly above where this bracket ended. I ended up getting a lot of work in this thing, and I almost made one from scratch. Alright, we'll see how it works. I'm getting closer. So the angle looks pretty good. Maybe just a little bit of refinement. Cable is good. I have to, it's under a lot of tension. So then I'll trim the length, shape it so it looks real good, like it's a decent looking bracket. Bolt it up, and I think that'll be a winner. Well, this bracket's been a little more work than I thought it would be, but the end result is okay. It's nice and strong, and I need to, do a little finish work on it, square it up, make it look pretty. But it's holding the cable nice and firm in the desired location. The problem is now when I step on the foot pedal, it only goes about that far. I got to get down there and adjust it so it'll travel all the way. Alright, so getting pretty close. I've been messing with the throttle pedal here, and shoot, I'm going to have to take it apart and work on the rod and move it up. I got to get more travel out of the pedal. And so I might have to take this side cover off to get to everything. And then I found out there's a problem with the steering shaft here. The bushing I put in there is basically worn through, fell apart, so now the steering shaft's all sloppy. So I guess I'll kill two birds with one stone. I'll open up this side cover, work on this throttle pedal and get the travel I need, and then fix the steering column. A little bit of a setback, I guess. Alright. I removed the screws to this front piece of aluminum here. Take that off. So that would, the whole idea of this is to give me access to the steering linkage. It's a good thing because, you know, this is unrelated to this video series, but the problem is right here. See how that moves up? Well, there used to be a bushing that would come all the way through here, a bronze bushing, but it's worn through. I guess the steel worn it through. I don't know what happened, but it fell apart, and so now it's all sloppy, and you can hear it rattling when you're driving. And there's the pedal right there, but I don't have enough access to really get at it, so that side cover there is coming off. So anyway, maintenance time. Alright, so to take that side cover off, there's a bunch of screws and a bunch of nuts and bolts too. So I'm just going to have to go to work on it. Gain access to the steering, and so that I can rework this throttle pedal, I'm going to take off this piece right here. This row of screws are in and over here. I remember putting this on. It was tough, so I'm going to take it off in the reverse order, and it's tough to reach some of the ones in here. But I'll get started. Alright, we're going in. basically hand formed that, shaped it over a pipe. You know, I'm no metal worker, but you know, I do the best I can with the tools I have. So we're trying to get to the pedal here. So here's the problem. This pedal doesn't move far enough to actuate full throttle at the engine. Now, when I originally set this up, it worked fine on the Honda, you know, stock setup. That amount of travel was more than enough to get full throttle. But I suspect on go-karts, it moves a lot further than that. So I think I have to remove that gray bracket, take all this off, the rod, and then I have to modify it here because, right here, because it hits the body. I might even have to extend this more out because I'm already reaching, you know, to get full throttle there. Then there's this bolt back here. So I might have to modify this so it doesn't hit that bolt. And then the rod, that rod right there, I've got to bend it so that it clears this body. Man, I'll tell you, seems like a lot of work to get this throttle to work, but that's cycle karting for you. You never know what you're going to be up against, so we'll figure it out. Since we've got the top cover off, we're going to also work on this steering shaft. It isn't originally part of the video series, but you know, we're gonna fix it while we got this all open. So I have to there's a couple of screws here, nuts and bolts. I got to take that apart, and then I have to disconnect this steel bracket, and then the whole, you know, of course, disconnect the tie rods. So then that whole thing, that whole assembly will come out and I can slide all this off the shaft. But there's the problem right there. See this bronze bushing right in there? It used to be, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch long. Now it's about 1/8 inch long. A whole bunch of it has disappeared. This problem with the steering column, I think I can solve a little easier than taking this whole thing out. What's happened over time, this takes so much stress from the thrashing that we do that this is bent a little bit, I think. If this was all the way back like this, seated tight against here, then everything would be fine. The shaft would stay put. But it's moved a little forward, so it falls out of the bushing. I guess there was more bushing there, I can't remember. So I'm thinking about just rigging up a bracket that goes in here out of some stiff steel, screw it onto here, screw it on over here, and that will, you know, under tension, it'll just keep this bracket towards the rear tight against this bushing, and that'll be okay for now, I think. So that's what I'm going to try to do to fix it. That way I don't have to take this whole mess out. And then if that fails, well, later I'll deal with it. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do there. I've been playing with this throttle a little bit and trying to change the geometry to some degree. So by moving this rod a little further out, when it's in this position, it actuates this more towards full throttle. So that was a little bit of improvement. So now if I take the pedal and I push it all the way forward, it's hitting the sidewall now, but it's at the end of its travel. And then I look over here, right there, we are at full throttle. That's the full throttle stop. So I've got it going to full throttle, but I still have to work on the pedal a little because A, it's hitting the sidewall, and as far forward as this is, I don't think I can reach it with my foot. So I've got to do something to bring this pedal a little further out. And then I've determined that I need to put a return spring on here so that the pedal comes back positively. because this spring up here is strong enough to make sure the cable gets back where it belongs, but not enough to pull the pedal. So I do have to take the pedal off and do some modifications, but I'm getting the throw that I want. I just got to get it to where I can reach the darn pedal, so I'm getting there. Alright, here's the throttle pedal and rod. I have to add a return spring to this, so that shouldn't be too much trouble. And then, you know, I have to, the travel on this is so far away, I'm right at my tippy toes pushing on this thing, so I want to modify it, extend the pedal out a little bit, then it won't hit the side wall of the cart. So I had done this on hole 27. I straightened this out, put a little curve to it. So I'm going to modify this. I think it'll work out. This is the idea of what I'm talking about here. I'm going to graft in a little piece, and then the pedal will be proud of the bracket down below. So this is the end of part 3, and in part 4 we'll get everything put back together and drive this cart around and see what kind of performance it has.